Can we just repeat that?
Naughty?
His dragon just got rock hard right there. I love you on a dragon ride? That's bold. I just realized his dragon's white. I can make the joke. She says I love you while riding on his big white dragon. Oh my god. The jokes just write themselves, bro. So in a way, we can say she just confessed her I love you while riding on his big white dragon. Cinema. Now, the jokes just write themselves. But I'll be honest, there's a couple plot twists throughout this episode that had me saying, didn't see that coming. Normally, a dragon having a full-on conversation with us randomly after trying to kill us would be the, damn, I didn't see that coming. But you know what? The fact that she dead-ass was like, yeah, I think I do. Which makes sense. I mean, she does confirm that her plans for the future are that she's going to retire as a knight for her kingdom. She does want to work and have diplomacy, hopefully, to bring their sides together, but she is going to return and marry him. Good for Vior, good for Sarah. Unfortunately, there will be a lot of conflict, not necessarily because of her brother, which is surprising, but more so the king in question. There's a lot of potential for a season 2. Do I think we'll see a season 2 of Barbarian's Bride? I think so. I was going to say no, but the fact that they have this little, like, sequel bait where it's pretty much like a bro's going to have, like, the last expedition in his bloodline. It's either they're all going to die or the barbarians are going to die. And essentially the king in question is just a right piece of shit. So they're definitely setting up more. I think if they weren't planning on doing a season 2, there's no reason to include this. Yes, back in the day, sequel baiting was a normal thing. You'd get 12-episode anime. They'd always say, hey, go read the light novel, go read the manga. But that's less of a thing anymore. Anime series are a lot more like leaving things open-ended but conclusive enough. Stuff like this would typically be left for a season 2, episode 1, if they didn't know they were getting a season 2 right away, or it was in early stages of production. So I do think it's a matter of when, not if, we'll get a season 2, but I could be completely wrong. It just feels very much on the nose that they're planning for more, given how they directed it. Because it's not like this came, like, in the middle of the episode. Like, they could have easily just cut this out if they didn't want to. You could argue, go read the manga ending. I think it's definitely sequel bait to say, hey, you know, just give us some time. We're going to come back for more. Overall, the production of the episode wasn't anything too crazy to write home about. I mean, the big gold KFC bird definitely was not the best production value of the season. But I will admit, between my infatuation for, like, actually really liking the design at a static level, I think it was a very creative take on dragons, something you don't normally see. I still had a fun time with it. The big shock was that it could actually communicate, because this thing's out here fucking destroying us. It's kicking our ass. I mean, even Vior, like, couldn't do a whole lot. The most we did was we cut off a pinky, which, you know, even that took a lot out of us. And you could argue, well, yeah, you know, if that blade would have connected with its neck, probably would have died. And I think that's absolutely true. The thing is this dragon at any point could have annihilated them without mercy. If it stayed in the air, guns weren't doing shit against it, because, you know, apparently these little dwarven bastards have guns, because why not? They look more like gnomes to me, but I digress. But instead, it was challenging. It was testing, right? And one of the funniest fucking things, man, I have ever seen this season is the reveal, because imagine going your whole life thinking dragons are just very powerful creatures. Sometimes they attack you, you barely survive, it is what it is. Vior has lived his life assuming they don't possess the same level of human intelligence. Turns out they do, they just have trouble communicating without the help of a pixie. The fact that, you know, your whole worldview is shattering, and you're like, well shit, am I slaughtering intelligent creatures, right? Because just an episode or two back, there was a big black dragon we took a ride on, and we killed it, and bro straight up, like, I thought we were borderlines about to have an office level scene where it's like, yeah, it was probably senile. What is it with anime and today between Dr. Stone and Barbarian's Bride both basically telling the main characters, you guys aren't worthy? Like, what do you mean the only time we're going to beat these creatures is if they're senile and dying? Oh god. I mean, this show I thought it was going to be good. When I initially did my coverage on, my What Will I Watch, I went through the full chart over on Patreon, and this was one that caught my eye. Initially, I was considering skipping it, not because I thought it wasn't going to be good, but I was like, oh, this show is not going to have popularity. It's not going to really have a lot of demand among my audience, both YouTube and Patreon. There's probably other shows. And then what ended up happening is a day after the first episode aired, I said, fuck it, I really do want to try this first episode, and I did, and I was very happy. I will say, the popularity stayed a little higher longer than I was anticipating, but it did eventually fall off. I saw a lot of people drop it, like completely drop it, not only just drop it from videos, but just not watch it anymore. Me, I knew I was going to like it for the whole time, but I will admit the development and how they evolve things is so much more interesting. And I think one of the things I really like about this episode is it confirms the timeline, which I forgot. It's only been a month for her. 1 month to fall in love with who could have been her captor, but immediately showed her kindness and showed her a completely different worldview, I think is a reasonable timeline. Especially given that she's seen all of him, Dragon included, and has very much liked what she's seen, especially when he's clean-shaven. When you compare the other prisoners that we have and their overreactions, and it's only been potentially a week or two for them, the timeline for the personalities actually make a lot of sense, and I'm really glad they reminded us how long it's actually been, because there's no this like, oh my god, it's too quick, it's too slow. No, it's kind of like the Three Bears, Sometimes it's too warm, sometimes it's too cold, but sometimes it's just right, and that's how I look at their dynamic. And, if I remove the little scene at the end foreshadowing the season 2 plotline, this is a very conclusive, but yeah, you can come back for more ending. With the ending, definitely has me assuming we're getting more. I mean, of course, only time will tell, but, don't be surprised if in a couple of years we see Barbarian's Bride Season 2. If we don't, kind of diabolical to throw that in, but I can still leave fairly satisfied. I mean, I assume the plotline will kind of be Brother and her have big conflict. We convince Brother. I think Brother is convincible, which I wouldn't have said prior to this episode, but seeing who's actually the rat scumbag of this show, certain people definitely gotta die. I don't think her brother is currently one of them, which I never would have said prior to this episode. But seeing a bit more, that's kind of one reason I am happy, because I would have left this season saying kill the brother. And now I'm saying, oh, absolutely, we can convince him. We'll take a lot of manipulation, and potentially I could see a scene where Vior and Sarah are having dinner and the brother's fucking hogtied. He's like, let me out of here, until we can convince him to trust us. But either way, really good show. Not my favorite of the season, but something that was definitely a breath of fresh air, a little different than stuff we are normally covering. I had a good time. You can let me know your thoughts down below. Do you want a season 2 of it, or are you happy with how it ended here? Do let me know in the comment section below. Make sure you leave a like, share your support, subscribe, ring that bell, and you can catch full live reactions to every single episode over on Patreon. Even if we didn't cover it every week on YouTube, we always covered it over on Patreon. We had a grand old time. And hey, if you're already over on my Patreon, I'll give you a video shout out too, because my patrons make it all possible over here on YouTube. Alright, so today we got Deezer, Winkaya, Gonzago, Yoon, Get Zerged, John Matrix, Braun P, Ike O, Clash King, Dr. Gold, Marshmallow, Shadow, Frozen, Frank Stendel, David Walker, X-Trend, and we also have CCC Studios. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care. Go out on a big white dragon. Have a good one.